unfazed because he's deaf. Alright, Tyler. I don't tell a lot of my friends about my 24-hour write-a-thons because I worry that they'll make fun of me for trying something that they don't find very productive. Some of my old writer friends used to poke fun at me for these little challenges. They'd say things like, yeah, but are any of those words good? Or do you ever get anything decent when you don't sleep? And things like that. And while I would normally concede to criticism like that, I instead continue to do these challenges, and I just don't tell them anymore. Because I find them fun, and I always get anywhere from 10K to 15K written on those days. I like to be able to give myself the permission to spend an entire day writing. I like writing challenges in general anyway, because I like pushing myself. I've even figured out that a midnight to midnight 24-hour write-a-thon on a Sunday of a 3-day weekend is the absolute perfect time for me, because I can use the Monday to recoup if I have to. Of course, I don't really have to if it's a midnight to midnight. I might mentally be tired by the end of it, but I'm not physically tired because I generally go to sleep late anyway. Okay, so generally after these write-a-thons, I feel super proud of myself and hyped that I got X amount of words written. I usually pretty jazzed about the work in progress too, and if I can push myself past the 10K speed bump in my story, this last time I wrote from 4K to 15K total in this project, so I can get further in the story than I normally do. This time around, I got another little perk. And by that, I mean, I got another idea for a writing routine that I pitched to Husbando, who's always super supportive about these 24-hour write-a-thons anyway. Okay, so try to follow my train of thought. If you've ever wondered what it's like to have ADHD as a writer, here's your chance to experience it firsthand. I've pinpointed a couple of problems for why I don't finish my writing. One is that I have the attention span of a goldfish. Two is if I plot a story thoroughly, too thoroughly, I feel like I've written it already and my interest in it wanes pretty quickly. But when I'm actively plotting it, I'm really excited about it. And the third reason is the muddy middle is like quicksand sometimes. I just get stuck there and I want to die there, and then I'm just a ghost of a writer. Okay, so keep those in mind. On Wednesday, I was working on my freelance article for the week, which was on leaving a legacy. And I thought, well, I can't have kids, but I can have book babies, and that can be my legacy. And so I need to have some book babies. And that reminded me of some of the habits of some really prolific writers like Stephen King and Michael Crichton. Anyway, so I've always thought that the note card process that Michael Crichton kept while he was studying to be a doctor at Harvard was pretty awesome. I like note cards. Scene cards that have often helped me in the past. In fact, when I finish projects in the past, it's always been using note cards. The first draft of the Crest, Poplar Cove, the sequel to Poplar Cove. On Tuesday, Kate Kavanaugh posted a video talking about the 185 challenge that Jenna Streety is doing, and I thought, that is crazy, and I would love to do that much, and have that much discipline. I need to find a way to write at that pace, because I know I can do it. But with NaNoWriMo being defunct now, I don't have that friendly, normally one-sided competition to push me, but I do have these write-a-thons. And so this last Sunday, I wrote 11K of a pretty plotted out story, running on little sleep because I didn't sleep the night before, and a 3-hour nap in the middle of the day. And there was also a break to run to Panera and do a write-in. And then there was a Barnes & Noble break after that. And then I had my meal break. And so I didn't write very hard in the last couple hours too. And so I could write 10K on a pretty plotted out story if I had a deadline, or if I was seriously challenging myself. I think it's doable with getting a decent amount of sleep too. I just need to really push myself and kind of just hole myself in my office. Work has had a couple of weeks where there's a pretty significant week-long lull. And so if I put all of these thoughts together, my proposal was that I spend a week or two plotting the poop out of a novel using scene cards. Either set the scene cards aside after I'm done with them, or use them to write a 50 to 70K-ish novel in 7-ish days, 2 weeks tops. If I can have a novel plotted out and ready to go when one of those work lulls happens, then I have the perfect time to get most, if not all, of a novel done. If I set the cards aside, that's okay. I just need to make sure to save them, and so when that week comes around, I'll have them ready. The main thing is to make sure that I'm fully immersed in the story. So immersed that I can't think of any other project. And if I do, I just jot it down and set it aside. I need to focus on finishing a first draft because I can edit a bad first draft. I'm doing that right now with the Crest, but I can't do that with a non-existent draft. I need to power through that first draft as fast as possible because the longer I spend writing that first draft, the more likely my ADHD brain will get bored or sidetracked. I know we're not supposed to romanticize writing, though I have thoughts on that. And the main thought is, shh, let people enjoy things. And I know we're not supposed to compare ourselves to others, but I read somewhere that Michael Crichton used to hole himself up in his office for days until he got the first draft done. And like John Boyne wrote The Boy in Striped Pajamas in like 2.5 days. And it took William Faulkner 10 days to write As I Lay Dying. And like Stephen King wrote The Running Man in like 8 hours. 8 hours. Jack Kerouac wrote On the Road in like 3 weeks. So I know that it's possible. I don't necessarily have the means to do it all the time, but I think I can get it done.